Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another installment of the FutureFight Vanguard series. This morning, I'm going to be covering a deck that I like a little more, Neo Nectar. So the new Neo Nectar deck coming out of the character booster set is expected by me to be very, very strong. But I think that I'm kind of biased when it comes to Neo Nectar because I always try to make it really, really good. I've been playing it since forever, since pretty much it came out. And yeah, with that, let's get right into the deck. So the deck that I'm going to be, this deck, or Neo Nectar in specific for CBT01, or not CBT01, CHB01, the character booster set. I'm going to break it down into two different segments. Basically, the first segment is going to be like my basic Bloom deck for Ahsha, and then the second version, as I've been asked by quite a lot of people, what I think about like what my Neo Nectar deck will be, or what a basic Neo Nectar version of my build will be going into or post CB or CHB01. So I'm going to be doing two segments. One's the first Bloom deck, and then the second one is my specific Bloom deck. But let's load up the Bloom Ahsha deck, and I actually have three different decks here. So let's go into here and let's open up the deck. So this is our basic Ahsha build. We have 4 of the new Ahsha, 3 of the old Ahsha, 4 of the new grade 2 Noelle, 4 of the new grade 2 Anelia, or Anelima, however you pronounce that, 3 Thuria, 4 of the new PG, very, very good PG. I'm not sure if I like it over the unflip PG because I like Counterblasts, but I might just be used to playing my version of the Bloom deck instead of like this version that I built from all the new cards. So it has 4 new PGs, 3 Stride Fodders, 4 Odette, very, very good card, 4 Katrina, 1 Ida, which is the new starter girl, and then this version plays 12 crit, and 4 heals. And then, so the new cards basically coming out in CHB01 or the trial deck, because it's kind of like covering 2 in 1, are new Ahsha, the new Noelle, new Anelia, the PG, Odette, and Ida. And that's if you don't count the crit. That's right here. It comes out in the trial deck. And this heal. But basically, the cards that impact the deck a lot, new Ahsha basically helps you deal with like any destruction. Because Ahsha is all about like, now we have Verano, which you can use Verano then Ahsha skill, but with this new Ahsha, you don't have to do that anymore. You can just place a unit at the end of your opponent's turn, and then when it comes by your turn, you have something to copy. And also, Ahsha gives whatever you copy, whatever gets placed on the board from Ahsha's skill, it gets boost. So that's very, very helpful because it's like having a on-stride Verano, which is quite frankly busted from my knowledge of the deck. Noelle is a new grade 2 that can attack from the back row, so that's very good. You can pump up all your Noelles to like ridiculous numbers. The only thing I don't like about her attacking from the back row is that you have to discard a card, and in the main Bloom version, you don't draw that many cards. So, yeah, I don't like that as much. Amelia is okay, in my opinion. I know this is the card that was used to hit like 100k power in the anime, but I don't really like her as much. She just gets boost, and she gives 2k to 3 units when she blooms. So Odette's very, very good. Odette gives 4k to 2 units whenever she blooms. So if you play like, let's say that you're only giving the power to your front 2 rear guards, then the first time Odette blooms, you can give both of them 4k. The second time you play another one, it blooms twice, so you give it plus 8k to the front row. And then the third time you place another one, you can give plus 12. And then if you were to place a fifth one, or like a Thuria or something like that, and call the name as Odette, then it would happen 4 times, which would give plus 16. 16, yeah, to both sides. That's about right. And so, like, the columns would be basically huge. It'd be plus 4, plus 8, 12, plus 12, 24, and then plus 16 would be 40. So, assuming that it's a 7K plus a 7K, 14 plus 40, which is 54. So, your rear guard columns would be 54, be pretty good. The reason why this version runs 12 crit is because you make like these really big numbers and you try to attack with your Vanguard first so that you can give your opponent like a bunch of damage via crits, and then once they get to like 4 or 5 damage, even 3 sometimes, you can attack with your Vanguard. They're pressured, and they're pressured that you're going to hit a crit. So basically you have like 2 huge rear guard columns on both sides. And then you can either add, like, once they PG or however they block the Vanguard attack, you can add either power here or here. So that's very, very good. Moving into the extra deck, we have the new Stride Inverno, 2 of her. We have 1 Celine, 2 Elmatar Great Bloom support card, 1 Glorious Bloom Ahsha, and 3 regular Ahsha. Then we also have 3 Verano and 4 G-Guards, 3 of them being Marlena, the new G-Guard, and 1, oh, this is not supposed to be Primavera. I must have misclicked, but this is supposed to be Verna. Let's see. I'll just show you guys what Verna is in like another version, but basically, new Inverno, pretty good card. Allows you to basically Soul Blast 1 and put a bunch of units back into your deck. If you put up to 5, you can put up to 5 normal units back into your deck. At first, when this card's effect was first released to us, I'm pretty sure it said choose up to 5 units. So I thought that was busted because you could put back triggers too. But it's they changed it to 5 normal units. So you return up to 5 normal units from your drop zone and your rear guard to the deck, which is very important because you can like reset your field. But then you, if you do 5, you can counter charge 1, soul charge 1, and then it's Generation Break 2, which is basically like what you want to go into this card, like second stride or after you G guard during your opponent's turn. You counter boss 1, you choose a card from your hand and discard it. Whenever a rear guard is placed, you choose one of your units with a Bloom ability, and you can search your deck for up to 2 copies of that unit. Meaning that if you ran Lisbeth, the stand trigger in this deck, you could search up to 2 copies of Lisbeth. You could search 2 copies of practically any card in the deck, since most of all of them are blue. So it's very good. And keep in mind that since when you're on Inverno, since your heart still has the name, or since your stride still has the name of the heart, you're still, well, I actually don't know if that works like that. No, probably not, because your Vanguard is not a Bloom card. So scratch that idea. I was going to say that you could search 2 grade 3s to your hand, 2 of the new Ahsha, since she has Bloom. But since you're not technically on Ahsha, you just have her name, you wouldn't be selecting a Bloom unit if you selected Elmatar, or if you selected Inverno. So we have Celine. She's a very good, like, I guess, what would I say? Like, she's a very good Verano, kind of. So basically, she's a Verano without, like, you having to Soul Blast or choose a card from your hand and going back to the deck. That's like part of Verano that I hate the most. Is like that first stride. Like, you have to bank on a lot because you literally lose a card from your hand to stride, and then you have to lose another card from your hand to call a unit. So, I mean, I guess you're breaking even, but like if you never intended to call that unit in the first place, you just wanted to copy, then it's kind of like detrimental. So Celine puts in some pretty good work. If you call a Bloom unit, she countercharges 1, soul charges 1, which fuels Ahsha's skill. You have Ilmatar, old Bloom support, basically gives the rear guards on hit, and she gets a crit. And then you have Glorious Bloom, Ahsha. These have been around forever. You guys probably know what those do. And then Verano, what I was just talking about. Soul Blast 1, flip a G unit, and choose a card from your hand and a card from your drop zone and put them back to the deck. And then you can choose rear guards on your field up to the number of face-up cards as Verano, which since we only run 3, there will only be 2 face-up max at all time because 1 will be on your Vanguard circle. So you can choose 2 units, copy 2 units. Marlena, the new G-Guard, basically says if you have 2 or more units with Ranunculus in its name, or you have 4 more units of another card, which is pretty easy to obtain that. Because at the end of the turn, you can just place a Thuria from your hand and make it Ahsha, and then you would also countercharge 1, soul charge 1. But yeah, so then this card will gain 15k shield, so it'll be a 41k block. And then the Verna that I ran, Verna basically just says that you choose a unit on your field, and for every other copy of that unit on the field, the G-Guard gets 5k shield. So let's say that you chose a card that's on your Vanguard and you have like 3 rear guards that have the name of your Vanguard, then literally it would gain 15k shield. So it's very, very good card. Moving on to some of the matches. We're going to be reopening area right here in a second. A thing that I hate about Cardfight area is that when you go into like the test part of Cardfight area, there's no way to get back to the main menu. And I believe that's like the same thing for the replays. Like there's no way to exit out except for like exiting out of the entire thing, which is kind of pointless. They should add a back button to that, definitely. But we'll load the first replay here. So our first match of this test is going to be against Shadow Paladin. If I remember correctly, this match was actually pretty unfortunate. You see me like mulligan twice, but I didn't really mulligan twice. When I put the cards back the first time, I didn't shuffle, or rather I did click the shuffle button, but sometimes it doesn't receive the click for some reason. So then it doesn't shuffle. I attack my opponent, he no guards, gets a draw trigger, he draws. He draws, and then he rides a grade 2. He just decided to attack me for 13, which I gladly take. And then Ahsha is my damage check. I draw, I have Noel, I ride Noel, and then I just decide to attack for 14. He no guards, I get a crit. He takes 2 damage, which I'm kind of like iffy about giving him a crit this early on because of him playing Revengers. I know that he's playing Raging Form. But I kind of had no choice if I want to plus by doing a drive check. But yeah, he uses Slay Hex's skill to superior ride him a Raging Form. I didn't even know that he had 2 Raging Forms in his hand already. It's kind of like busted. But yeah, he decides to use his grade 3 Searcher skill, and he doesn't get anything off of it. Shuffles his deck. And I think he just attacks me for 11 here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he just attacks me for 11. I throw down a 10 for a 2 to pass, and then he only gets 1 trigger, so the attack doesn't pass. I draw a card. I stride into Celine, I think it was. Now, honestly, looking at my drop zone, it would have been really good to Verano right here, but I kind of still didn't want a Verano for whatever reason. I just went to Celine, partly because I'm like in this test, this is the first time I was using the new deck, so I was trying to work out the kinks of like the new cards and see like what's the best thing to do. Now I end up calling Selene off of I ended up calling Odette off of Selene, and basically I figured out that you can counter charge one, soul charge one with Selene, so then it allows you to use Ahsha skill right after that, which is pretty damn good. At first I thought, like, when I have one counter blast, like, oh, I can't use both, but I can use both as long as I use Selene first, and I have a Bloom unit in my hand. So Odette blooms and gains the power, but ultimately I'm not going to end up using them because I'm going to use Odette's skill. So Odette has a skill just like Thuria where you can, except you can return any normal unit from your drop zone to your deck. And then Odette will bounce itself back to the hand. And this is at the beginning of the main phase. So yeah, I decided to bounce both grade 2s or both grade 3s to my deck, because I only run 7 grade 3s and 3 stride fodders, which is like lower than usual. So I want to increase my chances of coming across those in the game. Like, I don't ever want to be stuck in a point where I have to use 2 cards of stride or something like that. So, and I can just replay the Odettes as you see me do here. So I replayed the Odettes, and here I think I miscalculated, because Odette would only bloom once. But I gave them 8k each instead of 4k each. So it should have been 22 instead of 30. But when I talked to my opponent after, he said that he would have done the same thing as what he did. So it wasn't a huge deal. So he G-guards. That's 26 and then 36, 46. So it was 3. 3 to pass. I check my triggers. I get a crit. Add it to rear guard. So if this was the right numbers, it would have been 26, and he wouldn't have blocked it anyways. So he takes 2 damage. I end my turn. He strides into the Raging Form stride, I believe. To which I'm always scared of like restanding Vanguards when I don't have the right cards to block them in the hand, because if they get a crit, like restanding with a crit could just end you no matter how low damage you're at. Like, let's say that he attacks me the first time and checks a crit, then I take 2 damage, and then the next time he restands, he already has the crit still on it. So if he checks another crit, I take 3 damage and I just lose. So I was kind of like wary of that. As you can see here, he goes into True Revenge or Raging Rap Dragon. To which this whole time I didn't know that he had those 2 Raging Forms in his hand. So he decides to use Mana Skill to get a White Core Dragon, and then he calls Detonate, Heat, and Maul. He doesn't use Maul Skill because all his Raging Forms are gone, 2 are in his hand. And I was wondering why he didn't use it, but now I see why that I'm watching the replay. So I just decided to PG his first one in case he got a crit for the second one. Also to use the skill. So the PG skill is once you PG with it, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a unit from those top 5 that if it matches any unit on your field in name, which I was able to add a Odette for free. So that's pretty good. That Odette also becomes the reason why I'm able to stride. He does the limit break right here by soul blasting 1 and counter blasting 1 and getting rid of 2 units and 2 2 Abyss Dragon grade 3s. I just believe that cost is like way too heavy. Like, I don't know why you need to retire rear guards and counterblast and soul blast and discard 2. It should have just said like maybe just discard 2 cards, like not discard 2 dragons, 2 grade 3 Abyss Dragons. But with that, I take his remaining attacks. He doesn't get any significant triggers except for that heal. and we start our turn. So because I searched the Odette off of the PG, I'm able to stride where I wouldn't have been able to. So I go into Inverno. I use Ahsha skill here. Now the reason I'm using Ahsha skill, the reason I'm using Ahsha skill to get Odette is so that I can get a card, or I can get Noelle out of my soul, and then I can bounce Odette. Because the way that Inverno turns work, like, you want to bounce all your things. So I use Odette's skill here to put Odette, Noelle, and Amelia back to the deck. And then I return these 3 to my hand. I can't remember if I eated here or not. I don't think that I did. Yeah, I did eat a Counterboss 1, put into the soul. And then basically, yeah, Counterboss 1, put into the soul. And then if the card I put back was a Bloom unit, I can draw a card. So here I miscalculated because I wanted to use Inverno skill, but I didn't have 5 normal units to put back. So I should have Invernoed before I eated, but it's okay. So I use this, and all of this game I was misplaying, and here's where I realized that they only gained 4. So I gave them 4 each, and then now they get 8 each, so they both turn to 19, and then we start attacking. I attack him for 19, and I believe that he throws down a 10. Yeah, so I attack him 26. He no guards. I get a PG, a heal, and a heal of damage, and then an Ahsha. Then I attack him for 31. And I believe that he G guards, but honestly, I would have just taken it. Yeah, he ends up G guarding. I would have just took it because it's a really big number. And you don't, like, you could just save the G guardians in your hand for later rather than, like, doing what he's doing now. He's not even at Ritual, so when he goes into Plot Maker, as his G guard, he has to throw down 2 additional 5Ks, which he could have just saved. But yeah. So then he's starting his turn. I believe he is going to stride, if I'm not mistaken. Another reason why I've always liked Neo Nectar is because you can just destroy their, especially when we got into like the G-Break era, you can just destroy any of their rear guards and we just won't care. So any destruction deck, like, we don't have to care about getting rid of our rear guards because there's always another way to return them to their deck, which means that there's always a way that will never deck out either, which is very, very good in Vanguard, like having a deck that will never deck out, because there's sometimes where you'll go really long games and you don't want to deck out. So that's probably like the worst way to lose in my opinion. But that, or your opponent cheating and not getting caught or something like that. But yeah, so he decides not to stride with the 2 cards in his hand. He does Raging Form, and I 2 to pass him, and he gets a crit, and he all Vanguards, and then he gets a drop trigger, and he all Vanguards as well. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I took 2 damage, no trigger, and then he attacks my Vanguard for 15, to which I block with a 10. At this point, I'm pretty sure that I've won the game, but I just continue playing as normal. I think I go into like a second Inverno here. Yeah, so I go into the second Inverno here, and then I can't use Ahsha skill, I believe. Actually, I can, I think, because last turn I returned Odette to my hand. Or to my deck. Yeah, so I ended up using Ahsha Counterboss 1, Soul Blast, Ida, and then I call the 4th Odette combo piece. And then I'm going to use all the Odette skills to return them to the deck, basically. Or return, like, useful cards to the deck, like Ida, Ahsha, and the PG. And then I return all 4. My drop zone is literally all triggers. So had I gone after this turn, I probably would have Verano'd, just so I could just be putting back straight up crit triggers back into my deck. But I wanted to wait until I used at least 1 heal for like a G-Guard or something, the heal that's in my hand, before I Verano'd. So I could be putting back, like, I hate putting back the heal from my hand to the deck. I'd rather just put it back from drop zone to deck, so after I use it. Because there's no guarantee that I'll draw it again, and sometimes I really need a G-Guard to block. But here, I use Odette's Bloom. So here I use Odette's Bloom 6 times, meaning that I give plus 24 to my 2 front rows. They're 31. I attack him for 26. He G-Guards, to which I wouldn't have, well, that is true. I would have blocked the first attack, but I would have used the PG that he used, because then he could have PG'd, dropped a grade 1 in his hand so that he could have actually been Ritual. So basically, I attack him for 38, and then I attack him for 43, and he PGs, and that's that, and I end my turn. And then I believe that he just does a normal turn again, like he doesn't stride. Yeah, he calls mana. Mana skill calls Wygor. I haven't even read this card, honestly. When your other units are tired, they seem to give plus 3k. Yeah, so I didn't even read that card. It wasn't that important to me. So he attacks Vanguard here, which I could have no guarded. Like I was saying, how we don't care about if people destroy rear guards. But because I had like an overage of guard in my hand, like I just wanted to guard it just so that I could bounce using Odette's skill. But I probably should have blocked with all the non-triggers in my hand, to be honest. I just wasn't thinking about it that hard. So I stand. I realized I don't have a stride fodder. And then I try to use Odette's skill like on just a regular Ahsha turn. And I realized that I only have 1 normal unit in my drop zone, which is the Ahsha that I strode with the previous turn. So basically, I put it back into my deck that already just has 7 cards in it, and I return a card to my hand. Then I play Thuria. I should have probably played Odette first, then Thuria, because it would have bloomed 7 times instead of 6. So I kind of misplayed there. But again, I wasn't really paying attention at this point, as I was pretty sure that he could not survive even if he hit a heal trigger. And then even if he did, I had a PG and 3 heal triggers in my hand, not even counting what I would drive check here. So I drive check Noel and Ahsha. He takes the damage, and that's the end of that game. So right now I'm like really feeling the deck. I'm not feeling it as much as my version, but I can still see how it would be good and how I could win some tournaments. I'm still like finding my way around the new Bloom deck as I explain it to you guys. So it's like I know what all the cards do, but putting them into play and practice is more said than done. But we're going into Neo Nectar Game 2 here. Here I'm facing D-Police. and then I get like pretty good hand. I shuffle back and I get a PG, which I'm always happy to have a PG against Dimension Police, like starting out that they don't know about, because that deck is all about really, in my opinion, keeping APG in your hand so that you can block their huge Vanguard swings. But Dimension Police is, or not Dimension Police in general, but D-Robos is kind of a different case because they can guard bust. So sometimes even having a PG means that you're not even safe. Granted, they have to check the grade 3, but they run like a lot of cards that are grade 3 or are grade 3 when it comes to drive checks. So he attacks me. I ride. I decide to rush him. So I attack him for 9. He takes it, I believe. Oh no, he blocks it. And then he takes this one. And this is where I was explaining my whole, like, someone was asking me, like, why don't I attack with rear guards first and then attack with my Vanguard? The reason why is because if things like that happen, like I get a heal or I get a crit, like, I can just always add the power to my rear guard, and if they don't get a trigger back, then they have to guard for a bigger number. Like they have to throw a 10k instead of like a 5, which is helpful going to the later parts of the game. But he rushes me back, destroys some of my rear guards. I'm attacking now. I get a crit. He goes to 4 damage, but then he checks a heal. So he heals 1, negating my crit. And then he intercepts. So we're basically at like the same spot. So now he strides into Die Earth so he can get a grade 2 and a grade 3 dimensional robo. So he gets this and Die Jet. Now this card, Die Lesson, actually puts in tons of work in this deck. Like when I cover this deck, I'll get to it, but this card's very, very good. So now he's using this stand trigger Rinka. He's going to put it into his soul, and since his Vanguard is 2,000 power, or 20,000, he draws. And then when it's 30,000 or more, he gets a skill, like a guard bust skill, which is pretty OP to use in Dimension Police on top of that. But he checks nothing, essentially. And then he attacks me for 11, to which I think I take again. And then I stride with 2 cards, unfortunately. And I go into Verano, I think, because I had no Bloom unit to play for Celine. So it seemed kind of pointless going in, and the only 2 first strides that you can go into in this deck and have it be efficient is Celine and Verano, pretty much. So here I'm using Ahsha skill to counter loss 1, soul loss 1, and then call a Noel, which is another reason, like this is like what I mentioned when I was going through the deck, but I was calling that Noel thinking that I could attack from back row, but I actually can't because I'm going to have to discard a card, which that card, I wouldn't want to discard the PG anyways, but that PG is going to go back to the deck for Verano skill. So since both cards called by Ahsha, new Ahsha, and Verano can boost, I decided to call the first copy to the front row so that the front rows will be bigger power. And Noel's Bloom actually works in a very awkward way compared to like all the other Blooms in the deck. Basically, instead of like all of the same name gaining power, like all the rear guards in the same row as Noel gets plus 4k. So it's kind of like very meh. Like I would like it more if it just said all Noels get 4k or all cards with Noel in its name get 4k. It would just be a lot better considering that I can attack from the back row. But I attack him for 17. Don't remember if he guards or not here. So yeah, he guards with 2 5Ks. I attack him for 31. He no guards. I check a PG, an Odette, and a heal trigger that doesn't go off. So he checks a stand. I attack him for 35. And then he uses the G guard that puts him at 36 naturally, and he got a trigger, so he's 41. And then I end my turn. I think it would have been a lot more beneficial for me to have been able to attack from the back row with Noel, but we just couldn't spare the cards for that, so it wasn't worth it. So here he goes into Leon, and I know that he has that Commander Laurel that he checked last turn, so we kind of have to bet on, like, I'm pretty sure this is when the game turned around for him, because I only had one PG in my hand, and a G-Guard, so even the G-Guard, like, if I G-Guarded, and then I didn't have 4 of a unit, or have 2 Ahshas on the field, like, neither of those fulfillments were fulfilled, basically, so I would have been able to only do a 26k G-Guard block, and so I decided to PG, in the very small hopes that he doesn't get a grade 3 on his drive check. Because sometimes it happens and sometimes you can bet on it. I also wanted to use the skill to search my deck for one of the new Ahshas so that I could have Stride Fodder for the next turn. But unfortunately I didn't get anything off of the PG skill. And then he checks a draw trigger, puts it to his rear guard, then he checks a grade 3. Which is unfortunate, nullifies my PG, and then he checks a PG. So at this point, I'm pretty sure that he's won. But he uses Commander Laurel to restand his Vanguard, then he attacks me for 30. I no guard, he checks again, he gets a stand trigger this time. And by this point, the only reason why I said I'm pretty sure that I lost is because here I can't stride, and he just has like so much advantage. So I just am forced to do like a normal turn with the Noels like not even getting power. So I try to use Ida here to draw a card and possibly give me something that could like turn the tides or at least increase my power. And so I actually draw into Thuria, and I decide to play Thuria so that Noel's boom could go off. So it would give +4 to all 4 of the units since they're all in the same row or column. Yeah, column as the previous Noels. So the Noels on the right, since there's 2, they go off twice and they give each other 8k. But the one with the Thuria, they both just get 4k. So here I have to decide. I use the GB2 skill of Noel to discard a card so that it can attack from the back row, the 17k one. And I didn't want to discard the heal trigger because some part of me still wanted to live. So, because I know that they have like final die max now. That card's just busted. Like, they changed that card from the wording when it first released to if you have 4 cards with D-Robo to if you just have 4 cards in your G-Zone face up. So that's busted now. And so we're entering like the final stages of the game, basically. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember losing this one because I'm pretty sure he blocks all my very weak attacks. And then I attacked him for 11, and he PGs, I believe. Yeah. He PGs, and I don't check anything beneficial. Then I attack him for 17, and I attack him for another 17. And then all he has to do is block 10, which I'm pretty sure he uses the stand trigger to just block it. Or he uses the 2 draw triggers. Either way, doesn't really matter. He's able to stride this next turn and then go into final die max, which I have to take, basically. I could have played that Thuria at the end of the turn to make it Ahsha named, but like it was really no point because I would have been not only losing a 5k in my hand to the back row, but I would not have been able to block the attack because it was just way too big. Because I would have been at a 41k block, and his Vanguard is already 41k. So, wouldn't have done much. But he decides to use the skill to give his rear guards plus 5k and crits, and then his Vanguard has 2 crits. So, also another reason why it wouldn't have been beneficial to play the Thuria at the end of the turn is because the Thuria that's on my board is a Noel. So there's 4 Noels on the board, and so if I chose the G Guard, like I would have 4 Noels on the field, so it would still fulfill the cost. But here I'm pretty sure I just decided to take it because there's no way I was going to survive unless I got a heal. So yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Sorry guys, I'm yawning so much. I just woke up pretty tired. But yeah, I no guard it. I take 2 damage. That ends up being the game. And then we head on over into game 3, which I have to open the area yet again. To the listeners or to the creators of area, if you're watching this, please put a back button on the replay and the test zones of area. It's pretty frustrating to just have to close and reopen every single time. But so we're loading the 3rd replay here. And I don't remember what this one was. Ah, yes, it was the Gold Paladin matchup. So he goes first. He puts back his hand. I decided to keep my hand because I don't want to draw into anything worse, and that hand is fine as is. His hand is actually quite terrible. Yeah, his hand is actually quite terrible, and I didn't even know that. So I thought that he just started off with a good hand by the way that he was playing, but yeah, he attacks me for 14. We're just going through, basic early game procedures. I check the PG, which I was kind of sad about. But later when I heal, like, it'll be in my drop zone. So yeah, this is when I said it's kind of a gamble because I attack and he gets a trigger and I don't, so I can't attack with the other Noel. Which I don't run stands in this deck, so it's not like it would be. I don't think it would be more beneficial to attack with the Rearguard than the Vanguard. Because saying that if you check a crit, like your opponent takes 2 damage right off the bat, and they might have to take the 3rd attack from the Rearguard too. So I think that's better than them getting a damage check on your Rearguard attack, and then they can like no pass your Vanguard. And then if you get a crit, it doesn't matter. Like that's the other option. So I attack 16. He no guards. Here's not a problem that he checked the trigger because I can just attack one of its rear guards. Then he rides Gurgwit and he strides into Scourge Point Dragon. Uses Gurgwit skill to check top 3 and call a Quill. Now I didn't realize like his deck is so good for this. So he calls Quill, and I didn't realize his strategy like right off the bat because I haven't seen a lot of players play Quill in their Gold Paladin deck. But he attacks me for 9, then he attacks me for 23, uses Quill skill, and then he gets another Quill off of the Quill. So I'm just like, oh, that's OP. And then it gets 5k because coming off of Scourge Point. So it's kind of a very pressuring turn. Also, the reason that I hate playing Gear Chronicle against Gold Paladins is because when you header around them and they're on Scourge Point, like whatever they call it just gets 5k anyways. And most of them have on-call abilities or whatever. So it's kind of useless to use it on them. But I end up PGing here. I don't get anything off of the PG skill. He gets a critical trigger, which I was planning on taking this Quill, but I couldn't take it because he got a crit. So there's a crit, 32k, so my only choice is to Perfect Guard it. Had I not had 2 Perfect Guards in my hand, like just starting off with his stride attack, like I would have died before I even got to stride. So Gold Paladin is definitely very strong. But I'm pretty sure it's because of how strong of a strong start they had is why I couldn't really like make up the difference to come back. But anyways, I'm using Celine skill. I call Amelia, And then I counter charge one, soul charge one. Then I use Ahsha to counter blast and soul blast. I think I forgot to actually soul blast. Yeah, I forgot to actually soul blast for some reason. Oh no, I didn't forget to actually soul blast. I was on the original Ahsha, so I totally forgot about that. So yeah, so the me that was playing at the time knew that I was on original Ahsha, which is also kind of crappy because it's just always better to be on new Ahsha. But I use Edith's skill a bit early to return on melee, and I draw a crit, so it's like, ugh, like I just wanted something better. But I attack him for 13, just because if I check a crit and I give it all to the rear guard, like 18 is not a big number to block, and I know he has 10Ks to do it, so so I attack him for 28. He just 3 to passes me, and he has that PG left, so he's just undoubtedly able to guard my attack, and he knows that he's going to be left with that stride fodder. So either way, it doesn't matter what I check unless I ran stands. So so 28, and then I end my turn. He draws, he strides. And at first I thought that he top decked that stride fodder, but then I remembered that I saw it earlier in the game, and I was like, yeah, he didn't top deck it. So he goes into Scourge Point again. Pretty strong play because he already has a pull out. And then he calls Paramore off of that. But he's not yet Unite, so he doesn't get the plus 2k that Paramore offers. However, he does get the plus 2k from Gurguit. Gurguit's on call, so he attacks me. I double intercept because at this point I'm thinking that the only way for me to survive is for me to no guard the Vanguard and him not get a crit or any kind of other trigger. So because his rear guard was pretty huge because of Hulsa right here. So he attacks with Scourge Point. I no guard. He gets a heal. And then he gets Gurguit, and then he gets a PG. So it's like the perfect live check. So even if I survived till next turn, I'm not sure that I would have been able to kill him. Or I did survive until next turn, but I should have just no guarded here, even though I would have died, because I didn't have anything to make a great attack the next turn. So I literally attacked him for 11 here. Not even like a real number. He could have no blocked it, but I guess there's the fact of me running 12 crits, so I still could have double critted for the win, even though that's unlikely at this point. But I 21 with crit, which I was sure he was going to take because he could just hit counter blast to kill me. But he actually ends up G guarding. And then he starts his turn with the Stride Fighter in his hand, and so I believe that that's game, because I think that he goes into a third Scourge Point, if I'm not mistaken. Scourge Point is just a very, very good card. Oh, he actually goes into Campbell because he knows that I can't guard, and he has no counterblast. So I no guard. He checks nothing, and I was like, man, it would have been pretty good if I checked a heal. However, I did not. We say GG, and that is my test for the new Ahsha deck. Overall, I'd probably say that it needs, I think it needs a few more really good cards, or it needs some more bloom triggers. I'm looking at the Fighters collection that says that they're going to have all effect heals. Hopefully we get an effect heal trigger out of that, because that would be pretty busted. But a heal trigger that returns itself to the deck or whatever. But if everyone gets that, I don't know how busted it will be, because everyone will have it. And returning heals to the deck seems bueno. But yeah, with everything that's been my test of the Ahsha deck, ultimately I think that it is a okay deck overall. I can't see it beating out Gear Chronicle. No, this version at least. I can't see this version being out Gear Chronicle or some of the other stronger decks like Luard, Vanguard. Definitely not Link Joker. Link Joker will just destroy this deck in pretty much every Neo Nectar deck because we don't have like resist cards or you could run poker, but it's very meh because you don't know when you're going to draw into it or not. So I'd rather not run poker in my builds, but especially because that's just for one matchup, even though that matchup destroys you. But Link Joker is like not that prevalent nowadays. Like I don't come across that many Link Joker players. So until Link Joker becomes a really big thing again, I don't think that there's a reason to look out for that. But with that being said, that was my review on the Ahsha deck post Character Booster 1. And as usual, guys, like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. I'll have the stores that I support in the description down below, so check that out. And then let me know if you guys want to see like any more decks. I believe from Character Booster left, I have Alfred and Musketeers to do. But if you can think of another deck that you want to see, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will try my best to get to it. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'm signing out. Have a great day, guys.